Good morning, guys. Sorry I'm running late. Let's get to it, and then we'll figure out all the bonding stuff and everything in a minute. Let's go get to the number, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to make sure that this is up and running and perfect, and it should be. We should be good. Yep, you should be able to hear me and everything else. Great. Let's do it. See what the number comes in at, and then we'll play around with the other stuff. Obviously, it's not good. Smoking the market a little bit here on some of this stuff. So let's see how this is going to come in. And yeah, they're killing it here. Let's go see what this number is. That's not good at all. Yeah, that's not great at all. They are smoking that thing. So, wow, they are really smoking that. Must have come in super hot. Let's get to it, and then I'll flip to the screen and everything. We'll pull it up right now. Let's get to the numbers. They had to come in hot. Ooh, they can't get out of stuff fast enough. Boom, 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 boom. Let me just see here what they're doing. Give me a second. Yep, they could not move fast enough on that. Wow, still getting out of the market. Okay. All right, let's get to this number and go from there. And let's go. Just give me today, and let's click to it and pull it up, and then we'll go from there. But they could not get out fast enough. They're trying to hold now. Point floor. Oh, God, that's awful. Goldman said it was going to be higher, too. 0.433. This is bad. Yeah. So you're probably going to continue to see a lot of dumping today on that. You're definitely not going to see any rate cuts. That's for sure. The chances of a rate cut probably went to pretty much zero. Let's go take a look at some of this data so that you can see for yourself what you should be looking for here, and make sure this is up and right so I'm on the right screen. Cool. And then we'll get to some of this. So here you are in core inflation 3.3 coming in from 3.2, 3.3, 3.3. It's not really where you want to be at all. If we click back over to this, you were supposed to come in at 3.1. You came in at 3.3. Core inflation was supposed to come in substantially lower than this. So I would personally imagine that the market's going to take you're going to get hit on this, I think. The question is how much. The question really becomes how much you're going to get hit on this. It's probably not going to be, a little bit on this. I'll leave it at that. I don't think that you're going to. Give me 1 second here, guys. I got to do some things and go from there. Yep. Let me just do this as well. And give me a second here. One more second, guys. Yeah, that's not great. So, really what you want to see here is just want to see how this is going to go and then kind of go from there. Give me 1 more second. What I'm doing is I'm just trimming some things I held overnight. I wouldn't be buying into it right now. What I would do is I would just sit here and watch this. Let's flip back to, let's get off of this now. And I just want to point this out really quickly. And we're going to go back to this calendar. This is really bad, like really bad. Like watch, like that's really bad. So it's the opposite of good. So it's not, inflation's not dead. They're telling you that it's starting to ramp up again. This is a clear indication of it ramping up again. This is bad. It was a really bad number. It's pretty much as bad as you could have come in. You're going to have to go through it line by line and see what it is and see where it came in. That's going to be the real rub there to look at that. What I would say is I'd be really careful off the open, like really careful. I would not be rushing into things here, like buying the dip here. I'd be super careful. I'm not saying you can't trade around it. You can, but what's going to happen here is this, like they're going to sell the bond here. Like, watch, let's get back to the screen now. Let's get to some things and we'll go from there. But that's just a god awful number. And we'll go from there. See that? Like, it's bad. I can't say that enough. Like, it's super, really, really not a good number. So I would expect things to trade up on it to an extent, like rallies, because people are going to say, "Oh, it's going to rally." I personally think people are going to get out of the market, or they'll sell things because of that. I look at it like I would rather get out of the way and then regroup later in the day. I don't know any other way to say it. Like, here, let me show you this. Like, this is going to get smoked today. MSTX, like, you're going to get absolutely smoked. Bitcoin's going to get smoked. It's going to be all risk off on the news. Say it. So my single biggest short position right now, I mean, people are pretty blunt about it, is like this MSTX, but I think this stuff's going to get absolutely smoked today. And we'll go from there. But we're going to have to see how this plays out and really figure it out. But the more I look at this and the more I'm going through it, I want to go through something. You're going to have to give me a second here, but this is like the number one. People are like, well, what do you short? Just short this. Just short this, boomers. It's like so easy. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Even the names that came out and had good earnings last night, they're just going to get out of the way. They're going to get out. I think they'll get out of the way of everything. And I think they'll reassess. Yeah, I mean, you could look at puts. You could just short like TQQ. I mean, and that's, I'm almost going to call it out because I'm so behind on the day, but like with stuff. But like things like TQQ, short the bond market, like this is going to, like this, these will be such easy trades, right? Like, you know, it's not going to come back. Even if it bounces, it's not going to last very long. You know, anything that I had on overnight that's not hedged, I've closed. Like I had I had like UPST. So anything, and go from there. So anything like that, I would just get out of the way. I wouldn't even play with it. Like your long Tesla thinking it's going to bounce now. Yeah, it's probably not. That kind of stuff. I would just get out of the way and go from there. I would not play around with this stuff today at all. You know, I would not. It's really bad. I don't think you're going to see a rate cut this year at all. Like you might see a hike if that continues. I'm just going to tell you now, like it's bad. So just expect this stuff to continue to come in. I don't know if you have to rush into it, but you definitely want to watch this for sure. There's no doubt about it, man. Like this is awful. I wish there was another way to say it. Like, you know, I wish there was a better way to say it, but you know, right now, this is what we're dealing with. So let me go here and see if there's something there. I wonder today. No. And then we'll go from there. But I do think that's I do think it's a real issue. So I think you have to kind of take a look from there. What's this there? Let me just give me 1 second to go through this stuff. Give me a minute here, guys. I'm going to go through the CPI thing by category and see if we can find out what the heck's going on. Why it was so hot. So let's take a look here. So I can click over on this and you guys can see it as well. Hold on, let's do it. So I think this will be interesting. You guys might not think it is, but we're going to do it anyway. You should be able to see it in front of you. Cool. All right. So what this will show you, you can find this for yourself, just line by line. And what it'll show is like January to January, December to January. So what you're looking for is just like outliers, right? Things that have jumped a lot that are kind of moving the needle. Jesus, what's that? So for me, it would be something like meat, pulp, fish. Wow, we're gonna need way more coffee. Give me a second. All right, sorry guys, I had coffee delivered. I had to get it. It's best for both of us. If we take a look at how this is playing out, though, that just to go through this, like you can see the outlay there. What you're looking for, like these anomalies that are kind of like out of the way, you'll start seeing them. But you're looking for like these big things, like energy's up and fuel oil. Like see fuel oil here, like from December 24 to January. I went through this yesterday with the crude oil movement and showed this, like it was way off. That's huge for what fuel oil is costing. And I showed that on the doing the VWAP. I didn't think it'd be that big of a move, but there's your issue right there. It's fuel oil. I mean, you can just look for the outliers. See what I'm like, if the unadjusted price change, you just go through them and you'll see them, like all of a sudden they'll just stick out, right? And so you'll see where the issues are. So the issues, fuel oil, gasoline, electricities, and then just keep going. Medical care costs are up. And what this is telling you, again, the area I'm using is month over month. So when you go through it, you can just spot the little things like motor vehicle insurance is up. Transportation services, hospitals, maybe they're a little higher than expected. If you go look over here, things like that. Owner residents being down. So what's really the problem here? What's the big issue and the big culprit is this. And fuel oil spiked compared to where it was. Absolutely spiked. So if you go and take a look at fuel oil from here, right, and what you're looking at again is 24, 20, it's showing you the movement, right, from like November to December, December to January, seasonally adjusted, right? So it's showing you it right in here. And what it's showing, just like FYI, when you look at that 2162, so it's saying from December to January, even seasonally adjusted, you were up 6%. So there's your culprit. Now the question is, once you know that, does that change anything, right? If you know what the culprit is. And so what you would do is start watching the market as that comes out, saying, does that make a difference or does it not make a difference? Does anybody even care? And I think that's really where you need to go with it. So, and we'll go from there. So, all right, let's get to these questions. I'll take a bunch of questions and then go from there. I will have to leave on time today just because of what's going on out there right now with the market, but I got to hop in the room. But just to be really clear, like, do you want to buy the dip? Go for it. I mean, you can day trade it. You can whack it around and day trade it. Like this, like you're going to see stuff like this. Until this all settles down, I'm usually like net seller on this stuff, and I want to get out of the way, let it settle down, kind of go from there, figure itself out. Other than that, I don't really want to do much. The egg inflation trade, excellent trade or game of chicken. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting when you look at something like this, isn't it? And, I do think, I want to be really clear about today before I go any further. I think you're going to see a major shift in monetary policy today, like how people are going to view the stock market. That's where my head is with it. So my hope with this stuff is that, we see some kind of rally and I can take advantage of it. I've got a lot on still, but you got to be of the sense to reduce into this. I would think you can trade around it, but yeah, I think calm's interesting. I was looking at this VITL as well. I'm not really sure why the better egg is having a problem and the more abundant egg is not having the problem, but that does seem to be the issue here. So, we'll go from there. We'll see how this plays out. To me, it's definitely an issue. But you have issues today. You got to expect issues today, guys. Like there's no other way around it. You have to. Good morning from Singapore. Good morning from Miami. I thought CFLT was great. I thought this was a really good report. I don't know how DOX is going to act today. DOX bothered me yesterday with that close. So, I think when we had this on in the community, we had a trade on this, and the stop loss was 80, and we got stopped out. Because my thought was, if I take out that lower low, I want to be gone, right? So I opened, I ran up to it. So some people got out. I wait till end of day usually. That didn't work out too well for me. And then I'm out, right? And then you have your gap down this morning. And I hate selling these, but I don't have a choice. I'd be really careful here, man. Like I can't stress that enough. If I look at the account with what I added after that news, I'm literally net short right now. So, and I have a lot of longs on, but I'm pretty much net short. But that's also through like, crypto short, crypto stuff like that. I'm just looking at it. I'd be really careful with the names that rallied yesterday. What you might see is this. You might see names. Here's what you might see today. See how like Tesla's down and it's rallying? This is what you might see today. You might see the heavily shorted names like Tesla, SMCI. You might see them rip because people will get out of those and go find greener pastures, better shorts. So that very well could happen. I would go through all these and say, okay, let me go through this real quick and look. Yeah, even the NVIDIA, I own it like 120. That's probably gone now. I'm going to get out of some of this stuff and just sit and watch and wait and let it settle. I really think that's the way to go here. You had that huge move down and they're trying to convince you that everything's okay. I don't think it is, man. I just don't. I think you have issues here. So stuff like NU, TAO, SQLT, you're probably going to see money flow into those kinds of names right now because people are going to start looking for another market, candidly. When you look at how this is going with BABA and just the fact that they don't own DeepSeek, but maybe they do, like that's really becoming a key issue here. And one that I would really pay attention to. So, you're just going to have to watch all this stuff like really closely. Look, you're going to be all over the place, guys. I mean, look, let's take a look for a second. I mean, I'll just give you an example. 1 minute, this thing's down. You're at 323. Then you're at 313. Now you're back to 318. Like you're just going to bounce literally all over the place. It's just the way that it is. What you want to do with these kinds of markets is just watch those previous areas and then see. I'm just trying to give more an understanding of how you should view the day than actual ideas because everything pretty much changed today. You need to look at this and go, okay, do I really want to buy that there? Or do I want to make sure it gets through that level, right? Or do I want to short it? You probably want to short it there, with that as like the stop and then see if it can retest this, right? So you're going to have to look for things like that and kind of go from there. That's really where it's going to get interesting. I don't know that you want to be looking at the CFLTs and the DOX right now. I think you need to let this all settle in and see what happens. I'm certainly the least alarmist person, but when you see a spike like that, they're going to panic. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're going to move on the market, but I'm like the least person to say that, oh, you should be looking at reducing, but you should be looking at reducing and say, okay, let's see how this goes. And then we'll go from there. That's how I view it. I like Dash a lot. I was surprised they were up on that call. I did not think it was a great call. I would watch that off the open and go from there. I'm very surprised that it's still up right now. And I'd be real careful. I wouldn't trust anything off the open, guys. I'd be on the other side of that. What else we got here that we should go through real super quick? What's up, Alan? NGVC. So NGVC, yeah. So something like this, and I think when you see it, I like it. I own this, and I've done exceptionally well with it. I really don't like yesterday's move at all, not even a little bit. Because what I did yesterday with it was we're up fairly decent in this. You see that low right there? That is my lowest close in all this since I broke out. So I'm not really crazy about that. I'm a little in, can you bounce here? Can the market bounce here? Maybe. Is it worth trying to catch this market right now? Yeah, probably not till you're above that on the Qs, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you get above that. And what's going on, Arete? We need a better name. I say that all the time. It just doesn't flow off the tongue. I like SFM better. I don't know the other one well enough to say it's a comparison. So we'll go from there. Yeah, CPI was a dumpster fire, dude. I like ASML. I actually think that starting to look at some of these other names makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think starting to look at some stuff in Europe is probably prudent. I really have a hard time with China. I see it, but I have a real tough time with it. But you know what? So far, I'm wrong on this recent move. So we'll see. Snowy. It was funny. I was just looking at New York and like, oh, maybe I'll go spend some time up in New York. And then I looked at the weather and I'm like, no. Here we don't even know what day it is. But because of the weather. I like the name a lot. And I like the other one you mentioned too. Is today the day that you have to get involved? I don't know the answer to that, man. I'm just going to be honest. I think you have a real problem here. I think Powell did a real number on this market, man. With his 50 basis point cut and 25 basis point cut last time, I think he did a real number on this market. I don't think we have an idea on what the heck is going on. I think the home builders are probably going to get smoked today because there's no chance of a cut. So that's the area that I would really be looking at. Now you might see a bounce and then you kind of go from there, but those names are they're going to get smoked, man. They're in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. And I saw a lot of quote experts yesterday talking about this. It's going to be, the numbers off because Michigan consumer sentiment's off and it was Democrats. And I watched this guy go through, I'm not going to get into the name. And I watched the whole thing and I'm like, it's still how people feel. So if people feel that way, that's why Michigan consumer sentiment scared everybody. I really think you got to take this for what it is and that this is a really bad number. And it showed that inflation peaked its head again. And I think that if you're taking it for anything else, I think that's a mistake. And I think they're going to reset the market. And by what I mean by that is that TNX is going to go higher, which means if you watched any of my videos, you know that the equity risk premium is a really big deal to pension funds. So they just got a reprieve on what to buy. That means that PEs should collapse a little bit here. And, I would be leaning if you're telling me what do you want to day trade today, anything that's got a high short interest, because they usually cover that and go after other names. I'm not going to have time to edit. You're lucky I got on here today. Major issue I had to fix with bread ties. I don't want to be a bear. I want to look at what's going on. I think on the rallies that if you're not looking at shorting, it's probably a mistake. That's kind of where my head is right now. So, but I don't know that you want to short the high shorted names. So I do think you want to be short. I think you want to short the high shorted names. We'll go from there. You know, the thing about CVNA, dude, and I'm just going to go through these quick because I'm going to have to hop in the room. That name is so heavily shorted. It's that you literally need the guy. You literally need like everybody is short this name. And it's almost like you need the guy to go, I murdered somebody, and then everyone will sell the stock. Like, it just doesn't matter what they do. You know, when everybody is short, it's really hard to get it to go down. Is it really already 8:55? Okay. It's the eggs. It's the eggs. That's funny. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. You know, that's a really good question. You know, if I was to buy one, it's that one. But usually with this kind of stuff, what I do, I'm just going to be blunt. I tend to get out of the way, reduce, and then go, okay, what's the issue? And then go from there. Yeah, I have a bunch of those, dude, that I'm looking at. Have you thought about, you know, Jacob, you love these kinds of trades. I'm going to leave you with this, and we'll talk about it. I think I'm going to do more open Q&A. Have you thought about anything in regards to what happens if Russia-Ukraine ends and who benefits the most? I'd start thinking about that. Crowd looks like an absolute monster. I think gold makes the most sense out of anything. I mean, I just think gold, even the fact that gold's down is so dumb right now. But what they're doing is they're just doing risk off. So if I was to do anything today, like if I was really looking that I have to do something, I got to get involved. I have no idea why you would sell gold on this. Like, of all the days to sell gold, and I don't like that chart at all. Like, it's way overextended. But if you were to tell me, like, what do you want to buy here? You want to buy gold. There's no doubt about it. So we'll go from there. I got to jump, guys. I'm super late. Sorry I started late today. Couldn't be helped. Sorry we didn't bond, but I got to hop in the room. Again, if you could listen to one thing today that you should take from this, just chill, man. Go get a cup of coffee. Let this settle down. I would not be buying like dips unless you're day trading it. And then I would focus on the names that people are short and go from there.